Hi, my name is Maddie, and today we're going to be discussing something that everyone deals with: emotions. We all have them, and we experience them every day. They project our feelings, whether we want them to or not. For example, we may voluntarily smile at someone we see passing by, or we may involuntarily cry in the library at 1 in the morning over chemistry homework that we don't understand. But how did we learn that smiling is okay while crying in public isn't? We weren't explicitly taught these rules. No one pulled us aside one day and said, "You have to show this emotion when this life event happens." But whether we remember learning them or not, we did learn the rules for emotions along the way. And many of these rules we've learned aren't in our best interest. We think emotions are natural when in fact they're just habits we picked up from watching others. What we will learn today is how to take back control over our emotions through conscious attention and practice. First, we will learn how to take ownership over our emotions. Then, we will go into the reasons why we choose to express some emotions more than others. Then, we will cover the reasons for and ways of expressing our emotions. And finally, we will discover why all of these concepts encompass what we call emotional intelligence. We have to ask ourselves, what would I be thinking if I were happy? Well, the answer is in the question. We should think back to particular moments or a single moment where we were really happy. For example, I feel happiness when I think of all the Christmas mornings I spent with my family. So, if I want to feel happiness, I think about these moments. Now, this sounds easier said than done. Sure, it might be easy to think about happy moments when you're already happy. But what about when you're not happy? What about the times when life is just putting you through the ringer and it's hard to think of these happy moments? You might not even want to feel happy, even if you were able to recount a happy moment. But once you practice it and get better at it, this tool becomes really useful in managing your emotions, especially in these high-stress situations.
I'm sorry they took your rocket. They took something that you loved. It's gone. Forever.
Sadness. Don't make him feel worse.
Sorry.
It's all I had left of Riley.
I bet you and Riley had great adventures.
Oh, they were wonderful. Once we flew back in time. We had breakfast twice that day.
Sadness.
It sounds amazing. I bet Riley liked it.
Oh, she did. We were best friends.
Yeah, it's sad.
I'm okay now. Come on. The train station is this way.
An emotion being created by a thought is displayed here. In this clip, Sadness was able to make Bing Bong feel better by recounting a thought of a good time he had with Riley. After the thought, his mood lightened up a bit. Thoughts evoking emotions don't just make people experience happiness. It can work for any emotion. If you want to wallow in sadness, just think of a time where you were sad. Remember, every emotion you ever experience is because of the thoughts that you were thinking. So, if you deliberately think of a time where you experience an emotion, and you do this frequently enough, then chances are you will feel this emotion more often. Now that we've discovered how we can control our emotions, allow me to draw your attention to the reason why we choose to feel some emotions more frequently than others. And by some emotions, I'm referring to the positive ones, such as happiness, joy, and excitement. But first, let's go over some important definitions that will help us to understand this. Display rules are cultural norms that influence our emotional expressions. They dictate who can express emotions, which ones exactly, and how intense they can be. In individualistic cultures, or cultures where showing individual expression is seen as a personal right that should be executed, there's an expectation that people should exhibit positive emotions all the time. The US is a primary example of this. Think back to all the times we've been told to simply cheer up when we've been feeling down or bothered by something. We live in a society where cheerfulness is constantly sought after, and this is the reason why many people often opt to direct their emotions towards happiness or excitement. If you fail to show these mostly positive emotions, then some may view you as a failure or an overall unhappy person who may need to seek professional help. And this is all because you don't have a smile on your face 24/7. This is what we call a culture of cheerfulness. And despite the positive name, it isn't necessarily a good thing. If we live in a place where having anything other than positive emotions or good vibes is seen as deviant behavior, then people won't learn to value these positive emotions as much. You've all heard the saying, you need the bad to appreciate the good in life. Well, that's true. You need to feel negative emotions to experience positive ones. You should actually experience negative emotions about 50% of the time. That's right. Half of your emotions should be negative, or at least less than positive. Putting pressures on people to be happy more than that creates all kinds of problems, contributing to issues with mental health as well as depression. This is where some people rely on their happy thoughts to evoke more positive emotions. They ask themselves, what would I be thinking if I were happy? However, for some people who are sad, the shift to happiness is just too much to take in. These people could instead shift to feeling neutral as a way to shift from negative to less negative. Once we establish what emotion we are feeling, we often have the desire to share it with others. We refer to this as emotion sharing. Emotion sharing involves communicating the circumstances, thoughts, and feelings surrounding an emotional event. People communicate with others after almost any emotional event, positive or negative. Emotion sharing seems to generally result in a win-win situation, as people both feel better with themselves as well as with the relationship with the people they choose to confide in. Another way we exhibit our emotions is through the use of I feel language. We can communicate ownership of our emotions through the use of I language, as opposed to you language, which sounds accusatory and takes responsibility for how you feel away from you and puts it on someone else. The point of I language is for you to take accountability of how you feel rather than pinning the blame on someone else. Let's take having an argument with a roommate, for example. Imagine this. Your roommate leaves messes all over the house and you don't like it. Without using I language, you might say, "You never do your dishes," or "You make me feel so stressed out." If you were to use I language, however, the conversation would sound a little different. You might say, "I feel stressed out that our house is messy." Here, you're starting the sentence with I feel, incorporating how your roommate's actions make you feel. Rather than saying something in an accusatory manner, you are instead expressing your emotions with more clarity. As a result, the people you are speaking to may be more willing to collaborate with you and therefore hopefully fix the problem. The major takeaways from using I language are that it makes us feel as though we have a better handle on our emotions and can also make emotion sharing easier because our conversational partners won't feel as at fault or defensive. In essence, we are taking more responsibility for our emotions through the use of I language. I just want to note some rules for using I language successfully. First, Never put like, as in, I feel like you're getting more messy every day. Second, avoid you, as we just saw. Instead, try we language or our. Third, don't inscribe intention, as in, you didn't do the dishes on purpose. When you assume intention, you don't open the opportunity for your roommate to talk about what might be going on with the dishes. You immediately put them on the defensive. We want to assume other people are trying to make us feel good, not bad. Fourth, say, I feel ... because, not I feel ... when. And finally, always end with a collaborative question, such as, what can we do about this? Or, how can we manage the dishes better?
My concern is just not feeling confident that you are in a place to enter into a committed, romantic, healthy, fulfilling relationship. I feel like there have been times over the last few days that I didn't know if you had the maturity or the emotional intelligence or the coping skills to deal with stuff.
Emotional intelligence?
So, intelligence can mean a variety of different areas.
Okay.
You know, like being like book smart and street smart, that kind of thing.
Okay, emotional
And there's
intelligence.
emotional intelligence where that kind of speaks to like self-awareness and gaining insight and being able to like process feelings and how we deal with feelings and connecting on an emotional level.
So what we just saw in this clip was Taylor's definition of emotional intelligence. She really hit the nail on the head when she said there are different kinds of intelligence. Emotional intelligence is one, and no, it doesn't correlate with academic intelligence. People can have varying degrees of emotional intelligence, regardless of their academic standing. Emotional intelligence involves the ability to monitor our own feelings and emotions, as well as the feelings and emotions of others, to discriminate among them, and to use this information to assist with our thinking and actions. Essentially, you are aware of your own emotions and those emotions of other people. Emotionally intelligent people share when they feel it's necessary. This may mean that they share when they have something they want to get off their chest, but they also steer clear from sharing every emotion they have, which would be considered oversharing. In this podcast, we first discovered that we could take ownership over our emotions through our thoughts. Then we went into why America's culture of cheerfulness pressures us to choose to feel positive emotions more than others. After that, we discussed how emotion sharing and I language enable us to express our emotions. Finally, we concluded why all of these concepts encompass what we call emotional intelligence. Thanks for listening. I'm Maddie, and I hope your newfound knowledge of the inner workings of emotions helps you in your everyday actions.